Welcome everybody. Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savva Sahunam, Eso Panchana Mukkaro, Savvapa Vappanashano, Mangalanam Cha Savvesim, Padhamam Havai Mangalam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Satchidanand. This is the Parayan, the live translation in English of the Parayan, the detailed study of the book of Pratikraman, the major book, the 555-page book of Pratikraman that was distributed to those who understand, those who do not understand Gujarati, in the form of the document called p5 .pdf. And if you don't have access to it, please go to dadashri.org /p5.pdf, and we have been reading up to page 166 on that p5 document. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is the ongoing old pre-recorded satsang of Puja Deepakbhai, but we hope that he will be on in a couple of minutes, and then we will have the live translation in English. If you have any questions following or during this translation or of this satsang for this particular session of the 21st of August 2009, the morning session, please send your write down your questions, and you can send them by email to Anup, and if you can send them on to your local satsang center leader, who will pass them on for Deepakbhai to address them live later on. So Jai Satchidanand. We will be continuing the conversations, the live translation pretty soon. And if you have any difficulties in seeing this translation, we have moved in. This is our first recording on this particular channel of Ustream, ustream.tv. And if you can't get the link very well, next time around, you can just do the Google search under Ustream, one word, ustream.tv, and then space Dadashri -live, and you will be immediately given this link of the current ongoing live translation. Jai Sat Chidanand. Now we will do a little bit of the current recording, what Deepakbhai is currently talking right now. We need to know who we are, really. Who am I? Who am I? Where did I come from? How do karma get charged? This is a question, and Deepakbhai is answering. Who is the person who is asking this question? He's looking for that person to stand up in a vast hall in front of him. Oh, is this your question, or you are saying this question because you want somebody else to understand the answers to these? Is it not? Yes, do you care a lot about the other person, do you not? This is inner spiritual language. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going to go afterwards? This is not about the talk about I just come from Bombay and I'm going to go to Calcutta, etc. In all of this body and in this world that is in front of us through these five senses, who am I in this? Have you received Gnan, G capital, Gnan? I verily is the self, as capital, Atma. I am really the self, as capital. Just if the gold was alive, it will say I'm gold and I'm also the bangle. But when you say I'm John or Patrick, you are really telling something that is not really the case. Then I am John or I am Patrick is the identification that is given to this body, but really And there is the real I has got its matter, it has got its properties and its phases, dravya, gun, and paryaya. And where did it come from? It is an internal element. It has never arisen. It was always there. It is shashvat. It was there forever. It was. It was. It will be, and it will be. It is, and it will be forever, eternally. And it is indeed separate from this body complex of thought, speech, and actions. But when you believe that I am Patrick, then the non-self complex arises, and then it dies, and then therefore you say, I sat down, I stood up, I'm thinking, I'm eating. In the same way, you believe you got born, and the one who believes that he took birth is the one who is going to die, whereas you, Y capital, are the eternal one in it all. And therefore it is similar to the gold saying, getting under the illusion that I am a bangle, I'm a ring. But really, in fact, gold is gold itself, and it has never been ever been tainted. The gold in the bangle is 100% pure. The I has never come and is never going to go anywhere. The one that is going to come and go is the one who has the wrong belief that I am Patrick, I am John, I am a male, I am a CEO, etc. So these are all the constantly changing forms of the ego and the expressions of the ego only. It is the ego that believes that I'm binding karma, and that I'm going to have to suffer the karma, and that I'm going to also have to come back to suffer the karma. How do karma get charged? It is by exercising the egoism. When you say I'm John or Patrick, you're binding karma. But when you say I'm doing this, verily I'm doing everything, then you bind karma for next life. But when you attain the Gnan in the Gnan Vidhi, then you recognize that I am not Patrick, but I am really the pure soul, and therefore you come home to your original self as capital, and therefore you stop binding karma. This is yes. After Gnan Vidhi, the external ego is a dramatic ego only. It's a dramatic ego only. It is not for real, is it? But if once that comes out, you see in the drama, if you are on a play, whatever you say, nobody is going to bother you. But after the play is over, you tell tell the queen in the drama, come home with me because you are my queen. Will she agree with you? Yes. Yes, the ignorance one will always say that I did such a great drama, did she not? But in Gnan, when the one who is enlightened, recognizes that the external self, the one who is identified to the world as Patrick, is performing his worldly rituals and the worldly dramas. And so therefore this, until somebody asks you, the question doesn't come out, the answer doesn't come out, does it? And if somebody asks you, then you say it, and therefore you recognize that the drama is being fulfilled. It is just a drama on this worldly stage. But are you saying this with understanding, or are you saying this with having become self-realized in Akram Vignan, whatever you say, you are not going to charge karma. However, if you try to settle the files with absorption, with the idea that I am Patrick, then it will remain pending. Whereas if you remain the knower seer, the Gnata and the Drashta, then you will be able to be done with that which unfolds in front of you without binding new accounts. And so this is how, if somebody comes and says, hey, you're stupid, then he is a customer who has come to tell you that to take something out of your shop, which the world identifies as Patrick. And so if you then tell him, hey, get lost, how dare you tell me something like this, then you have just driven away the client. But you see, but if you settle that file with equanimity, without reacting to him, then that old file, that account that arose in this life from a past life account with him will be discharged as it is meant to be discharged, the correct nirjara, and then you will be done with it. Dadashri says that we Gnanis are such that we do not multiply any karma that could arise in front of them, and whatever was multiplied in the past life, we divide it with the exact amount, so the remainder is zero. So once we are done with it, it is never going to come back in front of us, and we remain the blissful knower, seer of that karma. How is karma being bound? The next question is, the karma is bound out of ignorance by saying that I am Patrick and that I am the doer. But after you become enlightened after the Gnan Vidhi, and if you apply and if you remain in the awareness of the 5 agnas given by Gnani Purush Dadashri, then no karma will bind you, and you will be sustained in your eternal bliss. Nothing will touch you, and no new effects will bother you. You will be aware of the effects as they are unfolding in the non-self complex that the world identifies as Patrick or as Nada or as Jeff or as Shava. So Dadashri says, for countless previous lives, we were in the investigation mode about who we are, what is the real nature of the self as capital, what would Atma be like, and whereas here we have just attained this knowledge without even doing anything, without doing any purusharth, and so we have received this thing. Now let me see if we can refresh this and see if we are in the right, because the satsang would have started but on the web TV, and here we are on the Ustream, and then hello, I Jai Sachidanand, the awareness of the eternal is bliss. I bow to the Supreme Lord who resides within you, with absolute sense of oneness and total obeisance. Jai Satchidanand, the awareness of the eternal is bliss. As everybody's bliss increasing, is it not? And the awareness is increasing too. Also, no, you are able to recognize your new faults easily. Are you not? And are you? It is becoming relatively easy for you to do samayik, is it not? This bestial pleasures that you get because you feel joy when your so-called enemy gets hurt, or somebody who is in a competitive mode with you gets a beating in life, is all of these are tendencies that they're all serious faults, and you become free from there. And so there is a constant inner awareness which says this is wrong, let us revert from it, let us reverse from this aggression, and let us not get into any such difficulties again, and we become free from the effects of these faults. Let us read further now. We had read on P5 document until page where they're reading the bottom line. Lots of Pratikraman for unethical conduct on page 166. If a person tells me, I don't care about religion, but I want worldly happiness, then I would tell him, be honest and ethical. I would not tell him to go to the temple. I would tell him that giving to the others is a godly quality. To not take away something that belongs to others is a human quality. To be ethical and honest in this manner is the highest religion. Dishonesty is the best foolishness. Just because I am not able to be honest, does that mean that I have to go jump in a lake? My Dada has taught me to do Pratikraman whenever I am dishonest. Your next life will become pure. Know and accept dishonesty as dishonesty and repent for it. The one that repents is honest for sure. Deepakbhai says, the one who repents internally is in honesty for sure, and he is separate from his externally unfolding dishonesty in worldly life. And we blame him. We say he is dishonest, but we have to recognize that internally he is really repenting, and therefore we have to recognize that he is pure soul and his non-self complex, the prakriti, is in the dishonesty mode, but from within he is really repenting, and therefore he is honest for sure. And so this particular uh, awareness and vision has to be applied in every interaction in worldly life with anyone through thoughts, speech, and action. So do not worry about the conduct of the other person, because whatever the conduct that is unfolding is the effect of seeds laid in last life, but his inner intent may be totally different, and if he is repenting, then he is in a totally different mode. And this you must have within, exactly established within you and within your spiritual vision. What do we do? He is a liar, he is stealing, but inside, investigate where. And if you do not know what he is doing internally, then you have to recognize that that is the way it is in this Kali Yuga, in this wrong era of the time cycle, and because people do not have unity in their intent versus their discharging conduct, and therefore this is the principle by which Dadashri lived his entire life, never looking down upon or never having any kind of opinions about a person's external conduct, but he himself was constantly in the intentions and the intent energy of the bhav satta, the bhav realm of the nine columns, and he was always in the pratikraman mode, even though he himself may not have done anything wrong to the other person, but he was all constantly sending positive signals to the pure soul within such a person who had interacted with him. One gives for charity, one earns money through dishonest means. It is all there. A solution is shown for that. If one has made money unethically, then what should one tell Chandulal at night? Tell him, keep doing pratikraman over and over, and ask him, why did you make money unethically? So now do pratikraman. Make him do 4 to 500 pratikramans a day. You, Y capital, the awakened one, do not have to do them. Make Chandulal, the first neighbor, the file one. Make Patrick do them. The one who does atikraman, make him do pratikraman. Deepakbhai is repeating this. They could just imagine what a heavy seed you must have laid in the last life, that you have had to do such unethical conduct and practices in this life. Once you correct it from within, you will become free. The the law is that the last life and this life and the next life are linked, and this is like a link. Just as 2 days are linked with a night, in the same way the two lives are linked with the temporary death of the current non-self complex, and you, the eternal one, will carry on with your unresolved accounts into the next life. So if you do not take anything that does not take, which belongs to you, it's human religion, is humanity, and to take something that does not belong to you is bestiality. So and if you give away something that you badly need to somebody else who is needy, then it is a celestial type of an response, a celestial type of living. It binds a place for you in a higher realm of, along with the devs and the devis, the celestial realms. So in this current life, whatever pain or pleasure unfolds in front of you is verily the painting that you had made in the last life, and so there is a even amidst everything that is unfolding in this life in front of you, there is a constant inner painting going on, and so there is honesty and dishonesty going on. But if there is dishonesty unfolding in this life, then you must wipe it off with pratikraman. Therefore you are changing your intention, so you will not have to face it again in next life, or you will not have to keep on facing the negativity or the unethical conduct again, even as an effect, again and again in this life, because there is an effect of an effect here too. So the intention for Mahatmas, when they are being wiped out, it is to improve, to be done with that which is in the discharging process. And if something happens, make Chandulal, make Patrick, make Jeff, make Nava do intense pratikramans from within. Make her or make him do the pratikraman. You should remain separate as the knower and seer, and talk to Patrick from within and say, hey Patrick, you shouldn't have done that, come on, go for it now, my friend, go ahead and do the pratikraman. Why did you hurt the other person? This is hurtful action, is it not? And therefore you have to keep on prodding from within. And so is supposing your body has taken the wrong turn in terms of a lot of discomfort in the stomach. Do you not investigate what did you eat yesterday? Then he says, oh, you really piled it in, ice cream after a full meal, followed by coffee, followed by some more chocolates, followed by a few fruits, and you just overpacked it, and therefore you recognize. And so don't you go into a corrective mode and say, okay, from here on I'm going to be a little bit more careful in terms of what I pile in inside this stomach. So yes, one is so very difficult, so exact when it comes to feeding and taking the food inside. uh, so so one even says, okay, give me 6 pieces of this, 2 pieces of the puri, a little bit of this thing, give me this. One is making the exact decisions about what he wants out of this. In the same way, in the current life, when a sticky file comes in front of you, you have to just immediately send a signal to her pure soul within him, says, please grant me the energies to have closure with her with equanimity. And before I say anything, grant me the energies to say the most the best words, so that she will attain closure. And so this is why this vidhi is just like washing your hands before you take your meal, is it not? And they bring a little bowl in a restaurant with a little lemon inside. Before, if you didn't know that, you would squeeze the lemon in it and drink it up, would you not? But that was for washing your hands. So you wash your hands before a meal and after a meal. In a similar manner, before an interaction with a file and after an interaction with a file, you clear off the any kind of atikramans or aggressions that may have happened. And as you deal with it to the point where you are able to you come to the level of shoot at sight. The moment an error has happened within that has hurt the other person, and you do an internal pratikraman addressing the pure Lord within him or her, then you have just shot off that cause that might have brought forth an effect down the line, and or a pending that remains in the discharge for Mahatmas. So this is very critical. And the Dadashri says, the one who does shoot on sight becomes a Gnani. The one who does shoot on sight pratikraman. So if you do 400 to 500 pratikraman seed, even if supposing you have an error in a conduct, then you have to do a huge pratikraman. Let's go. If you have a disagreement with your partner on page 166, then you will have immediately realize that you have said more than you should have, and so you should immediately do pratikraman. Our pratikraman should be like cash payment. It cannot be left pending. Just as we leave cash in the bank, and the payment they make is also in the form of cashing. Deepakbhai says that Dadashri gives so many examples now. He talked about the business, then you talked about your interactions with your partner in your business, and in all these various kinds of errors that happen in worldwide interactions with different people in different roles, you should have an ongoing acute awareness and do shoot on site pratikraman for this at that time. So please understand this, and that it's understand what is beneficial for you and what is not beneficial for you. Next question: how can the obstacles be stopped? If a man goes to his boss for his permission and the boss refuses, he will begin to have negative thoughts about his boss. My boss is worthless. He's like this and he's like that. Now he does not realize the consequence of his negative thinking. So if he turns his negative vow intent around by doing pratikraman, that is what we call awareness. When you supposing because he has not given the permit, therefore he extends it, because he spoils his inner intent, and so he goes on, and there is a passive aggressive reaction. The subtle anger is carried on for 15 days against the boss, etc. But if you immediately change your negative intent that arose just because you could not have it your way, he wanted to have a leave and the boss would not allow him, and therefore he is being impeded in terms of how he wants to have it and he wanted to have it his way, and therefore his spring of anger got released, and therefore, and in not doing pratikraman in this, he blocks his own progress, and he enters into the negative mode of reactions with other people, which creates that has got serious consequences with others. If you are suffering a lot in this life with a lot of obstacles in the current life, recognize that it is the effect of mistakes that have been done seriously in the previous life, and again, as they unfold in front of you, you need to get into the corrective mode. I will explain to you how obstacles in life come about. If you call a person that works for you an idiot, it becomes an obstacle for your own common sense. Now tell me, this is how obstacles are created. And every day in the worldly life, one has fallen into this trap, and his human life goes to waste. You have no right to tell anyone that they have no sense. Deepakbhai says this is a very great discovery of Dadashri. He has brought us into worldly interactions, and he is telling us about something which is so practically applicable. By calling somebody an idiot, you are losing your own godhood. You are losing the bliss of your own self mode. We are losing your own smooth liberation. You are creating an obstacle in front of you. You are yes, the poor guy cannot see, even though it's very clear he cannot see. Should you call him an idiot? You really need to. There is Lord sitting within him. The pure Lord sits within him. So you have no right to tell him that he is. And this creates such obstacles. And so the more you tell him, the more. If you tell him he is an idiot, then you will have to become one without sense in one lifetime. So you will have to suffer through this thing. So and the one who had merit karma, he gets to sit in the easy chair which is carried by 4 people, and the one who called palki, and the one who has demerit karma in operation, sin karma in operation, and then he will have to lift. He'll have to be one of the weight bearers. Otherwise, so this is the way it is. But there are some people. When the merit karma, which has been expressing so far, is followed by a demerit karma in operation, a sin karma in operation, then a CEO who was making a lot of money finds himself in jail the next day, or in a lot of difficulties in the next moment in life. So if one believes that I'm an expert, I'm a CEO, I know something, I can get things accomplished, and this is because one has risen on the horse of his ego, and the higher he rises, the more scornful he is towards others. That people don't understand, people don't do this, and so the moment you say that they don't understand this, they are not following through. If you say they are not following through, they are not doing it, all of these things really cast heavy veils of ignorance over your knowledge, enabling vision, gnan, and in short, it creates a gnanavaraniya karma, over you, the self as capital. And so one has to be so careful in terms of how one goes about just loosely even speaking and giving opinions about other people, because these are all serious games of the intellect which only take you down the wrong path. If you do this, then the other person will retort by calling you an idiot and create an obstacle for himself. Similarly, if you call somebody unworthy, you are creating an obstacle for your own self-worth. Now tell me, how can this world be saved from such obstacles? If you do pratikraman immediately, then you will be able to wash away these obstacles before they become impossible to remove. And then the boss will say, see, I interviewed him, I employed him, so there is a constant sense that he is superior, his boss, and therefore he thinks he can tell him anything and can use any kind of abusive language towards him. But this is so if you say that somebody is useless, then you are casting a veil over your intellect and your ability. If you say he's stupid, then you're casting a veil over your intellect. If you say he does not know how to do anything, then you are casting a veil over your ability to do something with ease. And so if you become aware of it, then please go ahead and do Pratikraman and make such a serious decision that I do not want to come out with wrong speech at any time in my life from here on. And if possible, try to speak that which is pleasant and beneficial to the other person, and never shall I say anything which would be hurtful and harmful to the other person. Yes, yes, so this uh, uh, the wife of Pandavas, Draupadi, just uttered only simple three words that Duryodhan was the blind one of the blind one, and for these three words uttered, the entire Pandavas had to suffer so much for many lifetimes. Pratikraman for scolding your workers. Questioner: in my work, in order to accomplish certain deadlines, I have insulted and mistreated many people. Says, when I was doing an attack, this gentleman says, when I was doing the attack on the Samaik, I was able to see so many things. Then I recognized that there is so much junk of greed and anger within this non-self complex. And I then saw my past life where I had been in an attacking mode to my colleagues and those who were underneath me in my company. And then I wondered whether I had such a veil over me. Deepakbhai says, just make a note of it in your Samaik, and then take it under study and do pratikramans for it. When it don't ever say that it does not exist in you anymore, because it is possible that you are not able to see it exactly as it is. And if you cannot see it, but you may not have ever done an attack in your life on anybody, but you cannot say that you have never attacked anybody in your life through your verbally or not. But Deepakbhai says that I never did any anger, but I used to suffer and become very restless within. And therefore Dadashri realized that and told me that my errors were of a different nature. Deepakbhai says, just understand them and then make a note of that and then deal with them later on. Dadashri, you should do Pratikraman for them all. Page 167, when you mistreated them, you were only fulfilling your duty. You did not do it for yourself, but therefore your intention was not bad. Whenever Dada always converted into anybody's negative talk, or always converted into positive. He said, you were not insulting them on your behalf, but you were doing it because you were working for somebody else. Questioner: in that sense, I was a very bad person. Many would have been hurt by me, Dadashri says. For that, you have to do a collective pratikraman, that owing to my strict nature, whatever mistakes I have made, I am asking for forgiveness. You do not have to do it individually. Questioner: I have to do collective pratikraman? Dadashri: yes, you have to say that. Owing to my strict nature and in the process of doing my official duty of the government, whoever has been hurt by my conduct, I ask for forgiveness. You should say that every day. This is very helpful for a lot of people who work for the government, says Deepakbhai, because you say my nature was such that a lot of people were hurt because my nature was strict. See, because my nature was strict, I was of a very harsh nature. You should say, therefore, it's not enough to just do it once. You have to do it as frequently as you remember it, as frequently as it comes within your mind, and then ask for the energies. Next question. He says, I exercise my ego because I wanted to get the work done on behalf of the government. And because there is the ego of a seat that you get, a higher seat you get on a government position, and therefore there are different people from different levels came to Dadashri, but this has all been compiled in this book of Pratikraman, and therefore you can recognize, we are, just imagine, I must have thought that I am such an intellectual person, that I am the one with the right intellect, and therefore I was so scornful, and I was so deriding everybody else and putting down others, and so I must have hurt so many other people in such subtle ways. This is not to talk about others, this is about the reality of our practical daily life situations. And therefore So you have to recognize and realize and look within in terms of events in your life where you were mistreating people in such a manner, and taking the time, reverse yourself and do pratikraman and be free from it. If you investigate within, you will be able to see it. If you see, and this is called the seeing in the Samahik, and then if you cannot see them outrightly, then you should say, if I have done them knowingly or unknowingly, please forgive me, dear Lord, within all of them. Because life, on countless lifetimes, you have been in such superior seats in the government position or in positions of authority and power, where you have exercised your authority and power in a negative manner in your interactions with your employees, your co-workers. And so every time, so now you are doing it the other way around. You may scold, but it's the heading on page 168. Questioner: when a boss scolds an employee, the employee will feel hurt, will he not? Now, if an employee does something wrong, does the boss not have a right to scold him? Dadashri says, scolding carries a great responsibility. You should scold in a way that it does not burn your hands and that the employee does not get hurt. Generally, you should scold in a way that it does not burn your hands and that the employee does not get hurt. So this is, make sure that you don't get, your hand doesn't get burnt and the other person does not get hurt. Make sure that you do not enter into another liability and responsibility, and the other person does not have a residual stinging stain which will bind revenge with you. Generally, people do not stop to consider this and they start scolding. Whatever is going to happen to the one being scolded will be, but the one doing the scolding carries a grave liability. He becomes trapped. All this is the Deepakbhai says there is a lot of responsibilities of people in a superior position, and therefore it is very critical that this knowledge be spread in this world. This is amazing knowledge, says Deepakbhai. And there are two types of role. Yes, but you see, in the drama of this earth, there are two roles. One may have the role of a prince and a king, and the other may have a role of a pauper and a servant. And so the one who has, this is a life after life effect. The one who was exercising heavy ego becomes a pauper, and the one, the questioner says, he has a responsibility as a boss, so he has to take steps to meet his obligations. So what can he do? He has no choice but to do it, right? Dadashri: no, he can do that, but find a way so that it will not hurt the other person. Questioner: so, questioner, what other way can he find? If the worker is not doing his job, he has to be told off, does he not? Dadashri: but when you scold him, do you weigh your scolding or not? Can scolding be weighed before it is given? Can you scold him worth a quarter pound? No. So how can you do that? So questioner: it is done. This is an amazing new discovery of Dadashri's. Whenever you chide somebody, whenever you scold someone, whenever you have to take someone to task, the best thing is not to do it at all. But if your role is such that you have to do it, then you should investigate a manner in which way he will not be hurt. But if you still have to do it, then you have to kind of wait before you let it out, do you not? Questioner. And so Dadashri is now giving the answers. Questioner: on page, it is done without weighing, but it is understood that certain steps will be taken if one does not do his work. All these rules are agreed upon. Dadashri, should be an I there. There is no, all these rules are agreed upon. Dadashri: there is no problem in taking steps within the rule on paper, but your scolding is done through your mouth. So when you do that, do you weigh your scolding or do you do it without weighing it? Questioner: but Dada, if he does not do the work he has been assigned and the task remains unfinished, should I not scold him? Dadashri replies, Dadashri: yes, you have to scold him. Page 169. Questioner: sometimes the scolding has to be done, or else I have to let him go. I have to dismiss him from the work. Then I feel bad that his children will go hungry. Dadashri: but it is like this. You have to warn him that I will have to dismiss you, so make sure that you do your work carefully. Questioner. We warn him, we give it to him in writing that he is not doing his job and that his work is not satisfactory and that he'll be fired. We give him all that in writing. Dadashri. What after that? Questioner. After that, we have to let him go if he does not improve. Then, when we let him go, his poor children come here to my home crying. We feel hurt and they feel hurt. Dadashri. If you want to stop feeling hurt, then you should let go. Finish the work yourself. Finish the work yourself. This is the first key. If he does not do the work, then finish the work yourself. This is a major problem. Why? The most important rule. The key secret is, why did I get such a person working underneath me? So, but in the past life, you must have exercised the ego that if those guys don't do it, I'll do it my way and finish it off. Or you may have had an opinion in a previous life that I will press them and I will get the work done. And so these are all echoes of your own ego that were exercised in the life, and now they're coming back to you. And so it is that person is meeting you because of your own past life karma, and again you are not able to resolve it with equanimity, and therefore they will remain pending. Questioner. If I do take these steps, then I get scolded by upper management. Dadashri. Take those steps, but do it with awareness of I am Shuddhatma and Chandubhai, Patrick is now taking all the steps. There is no problem in that. The entire Chandubhai, Patrick, Nada, Jeff is a discharge. Therefore, you are not liable for Chandubhai taking the steps. You have to tell Chandubhai that as far as possible, don't take those steps. Try not to take any such steps. Despite that, if it happens, then it is correct. Now the other comes up to a higher level of Gnana. First, no. Then it says, do it yourself. Then he says, then you have to do, but I don't want to do it. I have to fire him. Then at that moment, then you remain as when you got no other choice. Then come back to the home, to the self, and let Patrick do whatever he has to do. And then what happens is correct. Questioner. What you're saying is true. We took the steps by remaining separate, but having taken those steps, that man feels hurt. Is there anything else besides Pratikraman that I can do? Dadashri. Just Pratikraman. There is nothing else you can do. There is nothing else you can do. Deepakbhai says, yes, Dada has shown so many ways and then he leaves it alone. Really? And this is very important. He has given so many different steps, not to have any harshness, and then to do it so that the other person does not get hurt. And then when you try all your solutions and to prevent from firing him, and when it doesn't happen, when you got no choice, then whatever happens is correct. Repent for becoming the nimit. Questioner, page 170. At work, if a man working under me makes mistakes and I have to reprimand him, I have to do that because that is the position I hold at work. Dadashri. No. But when that happens, you should make Chandubhai do Pratikraman. Y capital should make Patrick do Pratikraman. After it happens, repent for the fact that you have to do what you ought not to do. Through your nimit, through your evidence, the other person is hurt. So you have to repent in the following manner. How come I have to do that? Why did I have to be the nimit? I should not become a nimit like this. But you are in a position that you have no choice but to do that. You have to do what you have to do. And the Deepakbhai says, it is true, the evidence is that you just say, why did I have to be in this role? Why did I become a nimit like this? So that means because you already changed your intention from within by saying that. The one at fault has to be penalized, page 170. Questioner, I am a PA, a personal assistant of the district superintendent of police. I have to fire a lot of people for which I feel bad. Is there a karmic bondage in that? Dadashri. Does it happen sometimes that you send a note to those higher up to fire a man and yet he does not get fired? Does that happen or not? Questioner. Yes, that happens. Dadashri. Hence, this firing is a routine for you, and your inner intent is that you do not want to fire him. Then there is no liability of bondage or bonded liability for you. It is like this: whatever the extent of one's mistake, his punishment will be fitting. That is the rule. That is not something that one can stop. Hence, you should maintain the inner intent above that this man should not be hurt. However, you should continue to do your routine job. In the subtle, I am pure soul, everything is under SCE, this is a file, I want to keep equanimity. These are all the applications of the five agnas. However, despite this, Dadashri comes down to the relative level and gives us very beautiful answers in each and every subtle situations which pose problems in daily life interactions. And then when you can't do it, then the question is it happening according to your will, or is it happening according to some other evidences in life? This is the understanding you must have within, that you should have the exact understanding that I do not want to hurt anyone, and you should have the intent that you want to be absolutely non-violent in these matters, and then proceed further. Response, page 171. Responsibility ends with a change in the inner intent. If a person that administers capital punishment has to hang someone, but his inner intent is not in accordance with what he does, then he is not liable for any bondage. And the one who has the inner intent that this person deserves to be hung, then there is karmic bondage for him, even if he does not do the hanging. Hence, the inner intent, the bhav, is the main thing. If it is not one's inner intent, but he sends someone to prison, he can still bind merit karma or punyai. This is how the world is. One has to be prudent about his inner intent, the bhav. You all watch media and TV and news, and then when you see somebody who says that person ought to be hung, that person is a terrorist, and you spoil your intentions by watching all this news on the media and the TV, and you are spoiling your inner intent, and you are inviting a serious negative responsibilities for yourself. The one who is killing each other on the TV, they are settling their accounts. Why should you change your intentions about him? This person invites responsibility by not having done anything, and yet he incurs the liability. Therefore, be very careful in terms of where your intentions lie when you see overt violence in the world. And so by watching all this video, that you get excited, and then you paint negative intentions within you. This is all, you have bound so many negative karma out of ignorance, and now and you create your own obstacles on the path of your own liberation, and therefore is in Samaik you should take and say, recognize, have you branded somebody as negative and the doer of something negative in these worldly interactions? Yes. So, and when you like somebody in the media, and when he is being hurt, then you become angry at the person who is hurting him, and you have no relationships, you don't even know them personally, and yet you are spoiling your intents, and you are getting into the rag and the dvesh, the attachment and the abhorrence modes of conduct and intent unnecessarily. So therefore, yes, so you never know what kind of previous life accounts that are being bound are now discharging in your current life. So therefore, with compassion for both the parties on the media or in the news, be done with it, because that is their discharge that is unfolding. Now, meet your obligations while staying as the self as capital on page 171. Questioner: if we report someone's crime, do we or do we not incur a karmic liability? Dadashri: no, nothing will happen. Questioner: if a worker under me does not perform and I bring it to my manager's attention, will I bind karma? Dadashri, no, you will not. Shri, no, you will not. The gentleman is reading slow and easily. The questioner, now, and if I do not bring to my manager's attention, then our management will be ruined. Dadashri. Now, here, Deepakbhai, there is that to report, to protect, or to report, there all of these are actions. He is constantly wondering what to do. Should I do it or should I not do it? This now the other Shri is now, and the other Shri is telling him how exactly to do further. The other Shri, that is the other Shri. That is why I've been telling you to bring it to your boss by attention. But do it politely, and you should explain everything to him. You cannot speak to the man arrogantly. This is where we make the error, says Deepakbhai. We must have humility here. We can do it kindly and with humility and gently. The entire science of Dadashri is being now brought into worldly interaction. He is giving you such beautiful inner understanding that it will express in your actions also. But right now, he is tackling it at the level of understanding. Questioner, how is that done in the worldly life? Dadashri, you just have to maintain that. It's such an intent, and then whatever happens after that, it is correct. You should maintain your inner intent in it. Then it is necessary to explain things to him. No matter how many times you have to explain to him, it is correct, and it is also correct if you do not say anything to explain to him. Questioner, if someone is being obstinate and I do not have any authority to punish him, but I report him to my boss so that he will be punished. Now the boss punishes him, but I am the one who reported him to the boss. So I became the nimit, did I not? Dadashri says, no, that is not your bhav, your intent. Chandubhai does that, does he not? But so what should you do? You should continue seeing what Chandubhai does. The world will go on. Do not worry about all that. Have the inner intent that no living being be hurt. Then go about your business, whatever it may be. Do not interfere in it. Do not have any doubts. You should remain as the self. However, you have to meet your obligations, do you not? Swarup, to remain as the self, this is the highest, the final thing, says Deepakbhai. To remain as the pure soul and become the knower and the seer. Ultimately, Pratikraman is the solution on page 172. Up until now, you had been trapped, but now you have learnt the art of escape, have you not? What do people generally say? If the scorpion is going to bite, let it. Hey, you! But do you have the energy to allow it to bite you? They will say, in the absence of such energy, the one who allows the scorpion to bite is a Gnani. Hey, you! If you don't have the energy, the Shakti, put aside the scorpion. Whether it is a scorpion or some other poisonous critter, just put it aside. Yes, but do not harm it. These are the people. This entire paragraph applies to the one who are ignorant, who have not attained this knowledge of the self in the Gnan Vidhi. And so that is the common misunderstanding in the Kramic path, that a true Gnani will let the scorpion bite him. And this is nothing but the play of the ego. A real Gnani will gently remove the scorpion and keep it aside and keep it away. Questioner, are there such Gnanis that will let the scorpion bite them? Dadashri says, that is what people say, that if one is a Gnani, then he should let the scorpion bite him. Questioner, that is an ego, is it not? Dadashri, it is all an ego. Questioner, so if the scorpion cannot be plucked off, should we pull it in a way that it is not killed? Page 173, the other 172. The other says, yes, but despite that, if it dies, then you should do Pratikraman. That is the solution for it. Questioner, the intention is not to kill it. Dadashri, that is not the intention, but what should you do if it does die? Should there not be a solution for that? And to begin with, one does not have the energy to let it bite, and then he goes around creating a big deal. Instead, why not exercise caution? There are all kinds of solutions. We have the entire science of Akram Vignan with us. Questioner. That is all very practical, Dada. Dadashri. Yes, it is practical. Yes, it is very practical. Yes, it is practical. Yes, it is practical. Now we are coming to chapter 8 on page 174. Deepakbhai is now giving some answers. All the solutions are internal solutions that Dadashri has given us. To keep the internal awareness in this manner, and then this is how you deal externally and in your world interactions. And thirdly, he showed us how to do your things. Chapter 8, page 174, freedom from the chains of life after life accounts. How to be free from past and future life accounts. This is very, very important, Deepakbhai says. Either you are constantly stuck with people that you do not like in this current life, you have to put up with them, you have to live with them. Questioner. What should we do to be free from the relations of previous lives, past life accounts, Runa Anubandha, that are now in front of us? Dadashri. If you are forced to live with someone you do not like, then on the outside, you should continue your worldly relationship with that person, and from within, you should do Pratikraman in his name. The suffering for you in this life is the effect of your Atikraman in your past life. What were the causes behind your suffering today? In your previous life, you did Atikraman against that person, and as a result, in this life, you have to suffer the consequences. If you do Pratikraman now, in the presence of whichever God you worship, you will erase your mistakes. Repeated Pratikramans will wipe off many mistakes that have been caused in these sticky, chikani relationships, this sticky relationships. If I just do it in the, and I'm a little ahead in the reading. If a man dislikes his wife, he will see many mistakes in her and will harp on her negative points. This constant fault finding leads to scorn, tiraskar. The scorn leads to fear. He will experience fear in certain interactions with her, and when he sees her, he feels a sense of suffocation and uneasiness. We all tend to be afraid of those or that which we dislike intensely. All this is a result of scorn. In order to break free from this feeling of contempt, one has to keep asking for forgiveness. Even though the other person may not be aware of it, you have to continue asking for forgiveness from within. If you keep on asking for the forgiveness from the Lord within that person, everything will be forgiven. This is very important. It says, when you have to stay with a person, whether you like it or not, externally you have to have a normal ongoing relationship with him or her, but from within, by keeping that normal interaction externally, but internally keep on doing Pratikraman about whatever things that you do not like about him or her. And so in this particular thing here, there is this is because there is intense dvesh and abhorrence has arisen because of intense attachment and attraction for her in the first place. And so this way you will be done with the resultant dvesh, the aversion that has arisen in reaction, and become free. But what people do, they get divorces and get into divorces, and they get into ongoing modes of enmity and revenge with her. So now doing so this in fact it is the effects, it is our own causes done in previous life are unfolding as effects in this life, and these people are there as nimitz or evidences only to give us our own effects, and therefore it is very critical not to see the nimit at fault. And if you see such a nimit at fault, and when you have a lot of scorn towards such a person, then you will have and there will be associated fear with that, and therefore you will be afraid of her being around you, and or him being around you, and this is all wiped off with Pratikraman, and the accounts will clear off. Now next one, Pratikraman of the relatives and the dear ones on page 175. Life is nothing but a drama. Is it appropriate to assume that people are playing the role of your wife and children in a play, are yours to take home with you? In your daily interactions, it is acceptable to say that this is very important that for Mahatmas to Mahatmas have to be very careful. This is my file number 2. She is so sticky. She will feel so upset if the little one hears that you are calling her a file, and file. Where is this file? Where is this file? Is this something that you throw away? Is therefore my mother is calling me and addressing me as a five. Do not say that this is a file. Do not say this is a file. The file is an internal thing. You are not supposed to say that this is an internal thing. So therefore in the play says, oh, this is my son, this is my daughter, and I'm blessing her. This is how you have to say it in your daily interactions. So I've noticed a lot of Mahatmas say, this is my file, I have to settle with it with equanimity. You don't say that aloud. This is an internal thing that you keep within you. So you don't misuse these words of the Gnan and the Agna unnecessarily, and to the detriment to people who do not understand. So there are many people, right? My fourth file was fighting with file number 2, and therefore file number 1 was upset, and therefore file for number 5 was taking it this way. This kind of stupidity, what are they doing? And why don't you say my son? Because you are writing a relative letter here. So it has been written very clearly. Then you should not really say it is an internal understanding. You're not supposed to write it to someone. Because even though you are saying this is my file, you continue to have serious abhorrence and aversion towards her. What kind of stupidity? File, the moment you say it, means you are free from it. File is the moment you say it, you are the blissful observer of that file. That is how it has to be taken. File is an agna, not something to be misused. And he says, and the son has just failed his examination, and the father is taking the son to task for having enjoyed his time in college, and the wife will say, it is all vyavasthit, it is all SC, why don't you remain in Gnan? So this is also misuse of Gnan, is it not? So be very careful about how you use your Gnan. Do not bring out that which is internal to the external level. So this is all. And the reason this is my Sanshatai, when you are introducing someone, but you should say it as it is, as you would in a drama. The reason you have to do Pratikraman is because you have believed all these relatives to be real. This is the critical, because you believed this was all this that was relative to be real. You should do Pratikraman because all along you had acted. Let's come back to Deepakbhai here. You see, on the drama, on the stage, people fight and laugh and hug each other and hit each other. But this is all a drama, is it not? Inside, the actors have a clear and an exact understanding that I am actor so and so. This is a temporary role. As soon as the drama is over, I will be doing, and as soon as this particular Broadway show is over, I will be going home to my place and having my dinner and come back again and repeat the same thing over again. But you see, and they perform the role in such a beautiful manner that people may even cry and laugh as they watch the Broadway show, do they not? But you see, so this is, you have to perform the drama in a very beautiful manner externally, but inside you should have it with the understanding that the actor has when he is performing the drama. So therefore, but if you become emotional and if you start crying or laughing, that means you have become the actor. And so the reason you have to do Pratikraman is because you had believed all this. You should do Pratikraman because all along you had acted as if they are really your children. If you did not have this belief, then Pratikraman would not be necessary. With this belief comes attachment and abhorrence, and with Pratikraman you are liberated. Dada shows you how to do Alochana Pratikraman and Pratyakhyan. Deepakbhai says if somebody walks off, supposing you lift up a bag and start walking, somebody says, "Hey," um, and then somebody walks away with your bag, you'll say, "Hey, this is my bag," and you get upset. But then he opens up the bag and says, "No, no, you see, it's my bag." So once you get the correct knowledge, do you not stop being upset? Do you not apologize for having the wrong vision? Because what this Dada shows you is how to do alochana, pratikraman, and pratyakyan to liberate you. Questioner. Sometimes in the mind is hurt that he has taken Gnan. I have taken Gnan, so then why should such problems continue? And Deepakbhai says, you have done such a rehearsal in the past life, therefore it will unfold in front of you. Dadashri, it is all an unfolding karma, uday karma, in which you have to do pratikraman. You are bound to be pushed around by the unfolding karma. You will not be able to avoid the pressure of the unfolding karma. It is not his wish that he hurt you, and yet he'll be pushed by the unfolding karma. One has no choice but to suffer one's karma. The home, Deepakbhai says, is nothing but the shop to be done with your karma of last life. And the people, they are near you in this home is because you have bound tight contacts with them, tight relationships with them, with very tremendous trickiness of attachment and attachment with them in a previous life or aversion in a previous life. So your files in this life are of aversions and attachments. Questioner. I feel like I want to do good for him, but I end up doing spoiling everything, and then I end up being the one who gets blamed. Deepakbhai laughs at this. He says, I wanted to do something good, but I get blamed. Look at Dadashri. But what problem do you have with that? Whatever happens is correct. The one who wants to do good should not be afraid. He says, Deepakbhai says, it happened, but because I got blamed, that is where I have a problem. The one who wants to do good should not be afraid. And the one who wants to do bad will not achieve anything, no matter how cautious he is. So you should make up your mind that you want to do good. Questioner. I used to have a lot of fear before, but not anymore. Dadashri. There is no need to talk like this. If he leaves here feeling bad, he will return the next day feeling good. You should do pratikraman. It says, Deepakbhai says, do not let it affect you if he has gone away. Because they are all close relationships. He's going to come back again. These are all relative relationships. They are not real. If there is no pratikraman, then the relationship will tear apart. What does pratikraman mean? It means to mend. It means to mend. If you keep mending, even as the other person keeps tearing, the cloth will last longer. But what would happen if the other person is tearing and you do the same? Deepakbhai says this is a beautiful sense. One, if two persons tug on the same piece of cloth, will it not tear off? So if one person is tearing, then the other person is let go, and vice versa. And if it's torn a little bit, then at night you must mend it, stitch it up. Questioner. My husband lives separate from me. Nothing. He has also taken the children with him. This has happened because it should have been my karma, right? Dadashri says, of course, what else? Nothing new outside of karma effect happens. This has happened because of failure to do pratikraman. Things turn around by doing pratikraman. Nothing new happens. All these events that happen in life, just imagine the beauty of the vision of Gnani Purush Dadashri. And so these are all questions that have arisen in the vision of the Gnani Purush Dadashri. And he says, oh, and she'll say, oh, he took the husband, the children also? Oh, and so then, what we'll say, oh, what a man, he even took the children? He took the children of the woman too? But there is, and because when you have those kind of effects in this current life, it is because you have the old opinions unfolding, and therefore now you should do pratikraman and get the vision of Dadashri that nobody is really hurting anyone specifically. It is just the settling of each other's accounts of previous lives. If do you imagine that if this is coming out through the level of speech of the Gnani Purush Dadashri, can you imagine how intense a vision internally must be? Pay off the accounts with by the checkbook of Pratikraman. The whole world is a karmic debt, a hisab, and in order to settle that karmic debt, we have the tool of alochana, pratikraman, pratyakhyan, whereas the others in the world do not have any tool to settle this debt with. Are you settling some of your net now? All you have to do is to settle the accounts, do you not? What else do you have to do? No one has the independent energy or the power to harass or hurt another person, and no one has the independent power to tolerate. I say what is happening, says Deepakbhai, is nothing but these nonsense complexes are clashing with each other, and the ego takes it up and says, "Oh, I suffered so much. She made me suffer so much. I'm going to get back at it. I'm going to get back at her." And so the egos are clashing against each other and are only multiplying the situation and complicating it for future time and life. But if one has the right understanding that it is my own fault that this clash has occurred, the other person is totally flawless, and I must do pratikraman for it. So this is because this drama is just the drama of the rehearsal that was made in the last life is now in real life play, and you be done with it, and just this home is nothing but a place to settle all the accounts with each other that were created in the last life. And this is how you wash off the sticky relationships that are presenting with you currently in this life. The world does not have this tool of pratikraman and this clear cut understanding. With pratikraman, these puppets learn to live in peace and harmony. No matter how insane the other person may be, he will cease. He'll come to his senses through your pratikraman. Do you not have parents whose children have got serious psychiatric problems? This is because the parents have been so negative towards them. They have constantly been critical about these children also to some extent, and so there is a lot of negative that is pressed within the minds of these children. They have been suppressed, and then the mother is constantly saying that you are a slut, or you are just constantly running around, you're no good, and then this kind of statements really hurt the child tremendously, and then she becomes a psychiatric case. Even if she was a normal case, even if she was all right mentally, she becomes so emotionally abused that she becomes a psychiatric case. And so otherwise and then not only these very children will become our own tormentors, not only in the future life but also in the current life. And now this statement is not correct for Mahatmas. For Mahatmas, only in the current life there will be the problems will continue only until they are resolved with equanimity. We get so many cases like this that father is constantly away, and the mother has been constantly in such severe case of reprimanding the children again and again, and therefore you have to do serious pratikramans about this constantly suppressing and constantly abusing verbally, and constantly exercising the heavy pressure of the ego on the tender ego of the children. And therefore there is a serious mental problem created for these children, and we get these cases profusely. They come to us, and we can't do much. Then it is because but if instead they were being raised with love, comfort, and a lot of care and hugs, they would have risen and grown to be such wonderful children. Therefore through your inner intentions you can definitely change the machinery of the other person. And if somebody is misbehaving and is doing the wrong actions, before saying that this is all discharge and vyavasthit SCE, you should try your 100% positive evidences. You should do a lot of prayers and bhavnas, intents, and positive signals to the pure soul in the other person. And having done that, and try, you can then therefore bring about a reversal in the abnormal conduct of the child or the teenager who is almost driven to the brink of disaster, to the brink of suicide, to the brink of a prolonged hospitalization in a psychiatric hospital. So therefore, through the inner talk and through these subtle messages that to the pure soul, everything works out. Page 177, do not suffer two losses. Gnan means not to incur two losses. And even if you incur one loss, if you do Pratikraman, you will have only one loss. One should not incur two losses. First loss is the effect in this life, second loss is the loss effect that has to be suffered in the next life. This is two mistake means you lost the cup, the saucer, and the second mistake is to become very angry with the husband because become with the servant and hurt him this way through anger, which will bind revenge. Questioner: but I will be forgiven if I do Pratikram, will I not? Dadashri says one does Pratikraman for one's mistake of hurting anyone through thought, speech, and acts. Dosh. There is no need to do Pratikraman if you have not made a mistake. That account is settled. And if nothing has happened, then there is no problem. And as you continue to do Pratikraman, everything will start becoming smoother in the interaction with that individual. The relationship with that person will be absolutely clear. Now, Deepakbhai, because this is used by doing Pratikraman, you cannot make a new glass out of that which has been shattered. However, you are correcting your mistake, the serious error of the aversion that was created in the process, and that is the second loss. If you do not get along with a certain person, and if you were to do Pratikraman all day long for several days for that person, you will be able to get along with him, and he will come seeking your company on the fifth day. All conflicts are there because one's Atikraman's mistakes. The audience is clapping because they just heard this. And Deepakbhai says that because your intention spoiled, therefore you have multiplied it in the wrong directions. And so, but if you, and you will shatter his wall too. But if you break the negativity barriers with Pratikraman, then his barriers towards you will also break and he will come and hug you. The Niruma learned this from Dadashri and taught us all to do the same thing, and with that oneness and pure love, she was able to win over the entire world. And none of these wise people do Pratikraman. Do you think they do Pratikraman? Dadashri is, one will say, why should I do Pratikraman when it is his mistake? If you ask the other person, he will say, he is at mistake, why should I do Pratikraman? Well, so be it. Let them bomb each other like Pakistan and India, says Dadashri says. Bombarding continues without, like the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. This thing continues. Who do you think is at fault, the mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law? And so nobody has the answer here. And so really both are at mistake, says Deepakbhai. The world, but the one who wants liberation will have to see his own mistake and not worry about who is at fault, and just do the Pratikraman and be done with it and walk forth fast and proceed hastily, proceed with ease on the path of liberation. Next, the world echoes your own projections. Questioner: if a person is harming me in some way, should I continue to simply know and see what is taking place by understanding that it is my unfolding karma, or should I do Pratikraman for it at night, or should I meet with that person and do direct Pratikraman? So there are three options: to know and see, or should I do just Pratikraman silently, or do live Pratikraman meeting the person? Because there is a sense that he is hurting me. So Dadashri says, in such an event, what would someone who does not have self-realization, Gnani, resort to? He would fight, curse, shout insults, etc. That is what an Gnani, ignorant person, will do. Yes? The questioner says, yes, Dadashri. He may curse and swear, but that will not stop the harm. He has brought such an account of karma with him, and so that is bound to happen. But when he retaliates, he creates a new account karma for coming life. He perpetuates the account. That is not what we do here in Akram Vignan. We simply have to see and know how we have simply to know and simply see and know what is happening. The underlying foundation of this awareness is the harm the other person is doing is the result of my own past karma. Just like when the step well, a vow echoes back thief. If you say thief in it first, can you then claim that the water well is harming you? No, it is the effect of your own action coming back to you. Because the echo comes back to you right away, you can know that it is the result of your own doing. Otherwise, one does not recognize it. Therefore, there is no need to do pratikraman in this case of the other person harming you at all. You have to do pratikraman if you are the one causing the harm. We do not have to do pratikraman if he is causing the harm. If you just have to keep saying, Deepakbhai says, but because there is intellect, because he is harming, your intellect will take over and says he's harming, so your intent will spoil. But if you can remain the knower and the seer, then that is the highest level of awareness. But this is the understanding should be that this is our own effect coming back to you. It is our own very karma coming back to you, just like the echo in a deep water well. And so that means at that time, because when you hear an echo, you know it immediately. But because you cannot see, the world is nothing but the echo of our own actions and through thought, speech, and deeds that we did in the last life. Whatever is touching us in this life is indeed our own only. But we can understand this in a step well. But now we have to understand through the Gnani's exact knowledge and through the fitting of the knowledge that whatever represents in front of me is indeed my own echo coming back to me, my own causes coming back to me as an effect. And so whatever suffering is indeed my own, for sure, verily and indeed, and nothing else. And for the effect, the nimit may be anyone. The nimit is not to be blamed. This siddhant, this incontrovertible established principle of liberation must fit exactly within our heart, and we must not have rag or attachment or attraction towards the one who is helping us and giving us pleasure, nor should we have any abhorrence or aversion towards the one who is hurting us or harming us. Because if we enter into it in that attachment and abhorrence mode, then we will keep it pending. We will certainly not charge new karma, however it will remain pending. Whereas for the self-realized one, he will definitely create a new karma. This is the exact scientific understanding of this whole thing. Therefore, yes, there is a lot of aversion towards the one who is harming you, and there is a lot of attraction towards the one who is helping you, and both need to be seen and known only. And so this is what we are trying to overcome in this current Parayan, and in this and this is the exact way towards moving towards vitaragta, totally absolute detached state where there is neither aversion or abhorrence, nor there is any attraction or attachment. And should we not have this awareness to when it happens, then, and if the intellect takes over, then the intellect and the ego will say that, see how much that other person is hurting me. And then what you do, that is, now you're grinding chili peppers and you're throwing these things on the other person, and you are creating more harm. If someone does us good, that is the result of our own doing, and if he causes us harm, that too is the result of our own doing. Worldly people, those who do not have Gnan, react differently in both situations. They have attachment towards the one doing good and abhorrence towards the one doing harm. Both are the results of attachment and abhorrence done in previous lives. No one does any good or bad. It is simply the echo of your own doing. There is nothing else. How can anything come from outside this? Deepakbhai says that if you are suffering from within, how can it come from an outside? If your suffering is from within, how can it come from outside? But what we are doing instead is branding people by saying he's this way and she's that way. And in work we are doing the same thing. At home we are doing the same thing. And this is how. And the women also, when five women sit together, they keep on just lashing out their sister-in-law and daughter-in-laws, and their mother-in-laws, and nothing else, and they are just grinding chili peppers and only creating more. And that I and that's by becoming the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law and the wife, they have just missed the S capital self. So why don't you investigate? And and there is has to be, this is also one really needs to analyze very heavily, the one who is helping you as well as the one who is hurting you. Let's take a break now. A break is coming up. Jai Sachidanand.
આમ આત્માઓના પ્રશ્નો આવે છે, એ લોકો વચ્ચેની સાઈડ અથવા બની શકે તો આગળ આવી જાય. તેજલબેન વોરા, સુધીરભાઈ દુબઈ, અજીતભાઈ જાની મુંબઈ, ભાવનાબેન પટેલ અમદાવાદ, જયંતિ પટેલ મોરબી, કસ્તુરબેન મુંબઈ, નર્મદાબેન સુરત,
They are just announcing
કૌશિક માગ્યાવાલા,
the persons whose questions will be addressed about
ભાવેશ રામાણી રાજકોટ, સતીશ શિવપુર
and answered by Pujya Deepakbhai.
નિમેશ વાઘેલા ભાવનગર, કમલ કુમાર મૌર્ય વારાણસી.
So about another dozen questioners. They are singing a hymn that may my satsang rise continuously and remain continuous, and I'm asking for this energy, O Dadashri. Satsang maro nitya vadhe mangu chu have, and may these energies rise within me, and may these energies, I'm asking for these energies, O Dadashri, O Dada Bhagwan, I'm asking for these energies, please give them to me.
સ્વરૂપે આપ છો હાજર અહીં હવે, કોટી કોટી વંદન અમારા સૌના રે, કોટી કોટી વંદન અમારા સૌના રે. સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે, સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને, શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને, હા આપજો મને, હા આપજો મને. નિત્ય પૂનમ દર્શન કેવળ આપનું મનું, નિત્ય પૂનમ દર્શન કેવળ આપનું માનો. મહિલાઓ મારા દાદા ચરણોમાં હું રહું, મહિલાઓ મારા દાદા ચરણોમાં હું રહું. વિશુદ્ધ પ્રેમ તારો છલકાય છે હવે, વિશુદ્ધ પ્રેમ તારો છલકાય છે હવે. સંસારી સૌ ફાઈલો ઉપકારી જાઉં હવે, સંસારી સૌ ફાઈલો ઉપકારી જાઉં હવે. સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે, સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને, શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાન આપજો મને, હા આપ રમાવહે. સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને. જાગ્યા પછી નિપણો દર્શનમાં વહી. જાગ્યા પછી નિપણો દર્શનમાં વહે. દાદા વાણી જ માત્ર અંતરમાં રમે. દાદા વાણી જ માત્ર અંતરમાં રમે. અહો અહો હે જ્ઞાની તારો પરિવાર તો. 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 ચોથા આરાના ક્ષેત્રે ઉભરાઈ રહ્યો. 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 સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. સત્સંગ મારો નિત્ય વધે માંગુ છું હવે. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને. શક્તિ તમારી ઓ વિજ્ઞાની આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને. હા આપજો મને.
ત્યારે બને તેટલા ટૂંકાણમાં લખીને આપશો. ઘણા
Next question. There are point men in satsang. This is in the PDF that we've sent you. And so if there are point, what is the danger of those? What is the danger of listening to point men? Point men are the people who drive you on the wrong path in this satsang. But if you have some kind of disturbance about it, if you have some concerns about it, yes, why don't you just you should not get into it. Just just send it over to the policeman, and then the judge will take care of it. You should not. This is, if you want to know more about it, this is available in Aptavani 9. You should not become too concerned about it. Read about page 179 on Aptavani 9. Page 181 and place 181, 374. They're reading ahead in this book. You need to understand that such people who divert you away from the path of liberation within this satsang group, if you do not know how to understand, then because they kind of stroke your ego and they butter you up and they make you feel good, you really need to make sure that they are not driving you away from the path of liberation. These are called point men in the path of liberation. They sit at the points in railway lines that you never know when they switch the lines, and therefore instead of your train going to Delhi, and it ends up in Calcutta. So, I see, when a man marries, the wife wants to wants to remain in control and take over the control of her husband. However, when she says anything negative about the mother-in-law, The husband will not agree initially in the initial years of marriage, but then she will say, but then he will she will keep on saying that, but subsequently later on she'll say, I told you, but you were not listening. Now do you understand now that what your mother is like, what your mother is like? So Deepak Bhai says that Dada was so strong mentally, he never let a division be created between his feelings for his mother versus his wife. It's our religion is one of welding, not one of driving a wedge between two people. If somebody comes to listen to tell you something and a negative about somebody, recognize that such a person is trying to drive a wedge between two people, and there is a problem going on. There is excellent satsang happening. We are talking about this thing, but there is also some kind of junk going in ATPL. These people are there are corrupt people. There is all kinds of negative in the ATPL, which is some housing subsection in Simandar city. This is going on. So even while there is such advanced level satsangs going on here, some other people are saying a lot of negative things about inability to have an apartment assigned to them, or the logistics of getting an apartment in these four places. And then so we make both the parties come. I listen to them. Then I said, what did you say? I listen to both sides' point of view, says Deepakbhai. So they are sitting. So then we found out that we found out that they have not been given the apartment because they have not completed their payments. So how can the apartment be given? And then the other side is that these people, even though they have not fulfilled whatever their basic obligations were, and therefore so we find the common ground between all of these things. So there is nobody at fault here. There's evidences are such that they are seeing each other at fault, and they're seeing each other at fault there. And so if you see this correctly, so both are correct in wherever they are, and so when we make both the parties sit down, then the conflict goes away, because supposing if we had taken the sides of the person on the left side, then I'll say that, oh, is there so much corruption, this is so much problem, but then immediately, but because the letter was one-sided, when I looked at the other side, then I realized, he says, yes, but so they're both, when we accept both sides of point of view, then one is able to adjust it. Therefore all miss and maladjustments in life are because of the inability to see the viewpoint of the other person. And then if you make 5 persons sit who are totally impartial, they'll see it as it is. However, what happens is, instead of getting a solution for something that does not progress, one starts blaming each other. Therefore instead of seeing the fault of the other person, one should really try to see the common ground and to come to the center to see it as it is. So therefore otherwise people will go into the negative mode of a lot of criticism, that people in similar city are like this and are like that, and these people who are managing this particular housing section are like this and are like that, and only complicate more problems. So therefore we need to, so whenever a new talk comes up, then you must investigate the other side at all, and then you will be surprised to learn that it is not always the way it has been presented to you. Then you'll recognize that these Mahatmas who are doing it with the pure intent of helping others. They are really doing it so carefully. They are not servants. They are doing it without any commissions. They are not getting any salaries in here. And so why do you jump on them? So because you are breaking the spirit by this kind of an approach, and with this kind of such a serious negative approach towards this. So why don't you just tell us? And therefore then a teamwork arises, you see. So then there is no mistake. Now the original question was one about appointment, but Deepakbhai has gone on to tackle a current ongoing problem of a large and actively growing housing complex, an expansion of a city called Samandar city, where more and more people wants to leave their original homes and sell off everything and be done with the rest of their life and come on over and get settled here in the vicinity of the Lord and of the current Gnani. So therefore, I says for 2 to 3 days, Deepakbhai says, I have to spend the entire time trying to settle the accounts of these people, and then I also have to do pratikrams for this. Therefore, I cannot do anything higher. I cannot give you the exact Parayan of the Pratikraman, because until 2, 3, 4 a.m. Deepakbhai says, I am concerned with settling these things. He says, for my own fault, when I say something, I have to do 40 to 50 pratikrams before the speech comes out, and then finally I decided that whatever Dadashri makes me say, I say it will, that speech will come out, because if once a negative thing gets gets inside, and they come and tell me that Deepakbhai, don't enter into worldly interactions. But the two of you who are like two children of mine, if they are fighting with each other, what role do I have except to enter into your worldly interactions? Do I not? So the coordination committee also, there is a coordination committee, and all the mistakes that have been, all the complaints given to the coordination committee have come to me. So then I tell them all to tackle it with Gnan and with the exact understanding. So, but if you just have to live a day or two and stop and stay, or a few days in Simon, it is fine. But do you think this is like staying in a hotel? You are going to live the entire life here in Simandar city, and how can you find faults with others in here? So these are happening due to sheer misunderstanding. Deepakbhai is giving. So supposing, did you not hear about the example of the prostitute? It was her circumstance which was making her a prostitute. Why did it get spoiled? Because it was the pressure of the circumstances, and also because of one's poor vision of understanding this, one's inability to understand the nature of circumstances in life. So this is the only thing that you have to tackle in life. And Deepakbhai says, I have so many things. Oh, I have. The deeper I get into it, I recognize that there are a lot of people who are misusing my leniency in this thing, and there are some people who are using subtle tactics to get their things. There are a lot of people also trying to get the control of the apartment without totally making the total payment, because there somebody will say, I got the control of the apartment without making the full payment, so if you make a noise, you will also get it. So this is the misuse of the total plans of the. So these are all this Prakruti, the non-self complex, has brought its total stock of anger, greed, deception, and pride, and ego, and the hurt attitude towards others, and the hurting of the others. And therefore, these allotments of the ATPL apartments, somebody may have to be given this apartment which is far away. He has to walk a lot. One has to make adjustments for his health, etc. There are so many issues to be tackled over here, and so if all viewpoints are understood, if there are 100 people employed right now full time constantly in the assignment of these newly prepared plots, that the apartments that are getting ready to be divided amongst all these people. The greatest pain that happens to me is that one Mahatma sees the fault of another Mahatma. That is my greatest hurt. And if a Mahatma sees the fault of another Mahatma, it is equivalent to hurting me, Deepakbhai himself. I was in United States every day. While I was in United States, every night this machine was going on. This machine and the machine of this, but you see, so all the Mahatmas will tell him, Deepakbhai, you remain in Gnan, don't enter into this world interactions of us dividing these things. And they kept on telling me everything is working very well. But then when I talk to the Mahatmas, I recognize that Mahatmas have been very very dissatisfied. A lot of people are having complaints, and therefore I tell them, and now they are telling me, Deepakbhai, take over, and why don't you just kind of exercise your. But my intention was such. But then my intention was that these Aptaputras and Aptaputris and Mahatmas are also so advanced, they know exactly how to handle this interaction. But But whenever Mahatmas who are advanced Mahatmas who are to try to help out, these people threw junk on them and threw sand in their eyes and hurt them. And so they were hurt so badly they themselves then got disappointed, and they said, we don't want to volunteer in these matters. So please recognize your own mistakes and kind of deal with this love. And therefore, he says, I don't know. Deepakbhai says that I have the work of the Aptavani 14 still pending for 3 years, and I don't know how much time I will have to kind of focus on this Parayan of the Pratikraman, because my link gets broken, because I am not able to give the highest applied awareness on the process that I need to do to pay full attention on these Pratikraman issues and the Parayan. And but where is the mistake? What is the mistake? It is the yes, it's the so the capacity was only for 200 buses, and now 20,000 people are coming for this and so therefore we have to have a pyramid. We have to have an ongoing delegation of work, because 20,000 people are coming in, and therefore we do constant vidis for all of these people. Then they say that because you are blocking us from our access to Deepakbhai. You are blocking our access to Deepakbhai. What's happening with you guys? And so there is a lot of fighting going on between the Mahatmas who somehow cannot getting. And then on top of that, I have all issues of serious difficulties with Mahatmas all over the world. Somebody with a death in the family, an impending death in the family, somebody with a very serious illness, very bad news that has just come in, accidents, etc. So all of these things. And then all these Mahatmas come, and he's now imitating these Mahatmas who says, I want to do 24 hours work for Dada, and I want to do 24 hours work for Dada. But you see, and then I sometimes it's from overseas I get calls like, I had such a heavy duty, at 1 or 2 o'clock in the night I had a very bad dream. Will you please do a vidhi? I had a very bad dream. Or my father just passed away, will you please do a vidhi at 5 o'clock in the morning? So this is so Deepakbhai says the problem is such that when it comes via, there is the problem. Whenever there is the slightest mistake, even if there is a slightest mistake by us, and she is one of the co-workers at the levels, then they bypass us and they just go directly to you, Deepakbhai, the complaints. Therefore, so Deepakbhai says, then the answer is, then if I give less satsang and more administrative affairs, then only it will come to an answer, would it not? Because for 3 years now should I not enter into some kind of administrative affairs daily? Ask Deepakbhai. I have a lot of intentions, and I have a lot of intent that how can I help these sisters, these ladies who have such serious spiritual problems. But then I get accused that the money is being wasted here in these big buildings, and this money is being wasted here. But you see, he says then he is now starting these new waves of Aptaputras and trying to get new children get raised. So there are two kinds of opinions being lashed at Deepakbhai by the world. But yet I keep on doing the prayers for them, and I do keep on doing pratikramans for it, and try to do the best we can. And then whatever happens, we deal with it to the best of our abilities. And therefore now what we have arranged is, come, sit down and tell us what is going on within, and so present your side, and then we'll bring the other side in front of you, and then let us just settle the knot between the two of you. And this is the only thing. Niruma had spent a lot of time in this thing. Dadashri too had spent a lot of. Niruma spent 10 years was trying to solve problems and bickering amidst Mahatmas for such a long time. And then and her vision was that they wanted ideal Aptaputras and Aptaputris to be ready for the world, and yet, but then nature, this SCE unfold in such a heavy manner that it was not to be so. Therefore, I have to enter some degree of administration in this whole thing, and these people who are point men and who are kind of are the troublemakers in here. They will be. I need to kind of start paying attention, of course, with the total awareness of the knowledge of the self, and also with the total attention with reference to the five agnas. And and of course this way, and he takes it in a positive manner by Deepakbhai saying that he takes it positive, saying that this will make me better in worldly interactions and administrative affairs. And so looks like Niruma spent here 10 years doing it, and looks like my 10 years will also go in this direction too, because I will have to enter into this sort of stuff. So, even Srimad Rajchandra also, and with Prabhu Shri Darsal also had the same problems, because Prabhu Shri just took over his and said, he says, and this is the nature of this world, that the world will blame these saintly people, you see. And it looks, in between the lines, the Deepakbhai is saying that he is being blamed for the affairs, the way the affairs are being run, and the way the money is being managed. The donation money is being managed for the further progression and for the glorious unfolding of Akram Vignan as envisioned by him and Niruma. So now, therefore, Deepakbhai says we will just have to go proceed the best we can, and we will meet each other and therefore try to dissect our problems. I have a personal request. This young man says, and he says, Deepakbhai, it is going in such wrong matters. And Deepakbhai says, he says everybody is grinding chili peppers and they are throwing it on each other, and they are talking negatively against each other, and therefore I will have to, when this Parayan is over, I'll have to kind of forget about the rest of the agenda for 1 year, about the spiritual satsangs, etc., and really figure out where the cancer has taken hold, and where is the dirt that has taken hold within this city, and try to. And this young man is becoming emotional. He says, this is not right. This is not right. He says, this is part of SC. He says, Deepakbhai, this has just come out. The words have come out. Now we just need to just observe and see what is happening. Nothing is going to happen. The young man is crying now. This such profound negativity is so. He says the Surat people are like this, the Godhra people are like this, the Bombay people are like this. Each one of the cities of this Gujarat of Mahatmas are actually finding faults with each other. And then they are also saying Simandar city, where we have a huge letter which says these are the kind of people in Simandar city. We have to become vitarag, totally detached. Why should we enter into this thing at all? Why? He says, why? Look at the questions. He said, do you see that? And because why is this? Yes, there are. He says, you see, this is that the Simandar city are blocking. These people in the Simandar city are only blocking questions from people from other part of Gujarat. They are only giving it to the questions to only the people from Simandar city. So this is the nature of the enemy intellect of this current era of the time cycle called Kali Yuga. And therefore we really need to be very much aware of it and in total awareness against it. But we Mahatmas want the salvation of the world, but I do not understand the dichotomy between the intent of Mahatmas with reference to helping the world, and then at the same time they are entering into the negativity. The nature of the world, and the law of the world is that those who are on the path of liberation in the terminal days, in the final path, will encounter a lot of obstacles, because and one has created these obstacles on his own self, by his own efforts only, and therefore the one who is sincerely and truly desire of liberation, he will overcome all obstacles, and all the others will get hung up and blocked in this path of liberation. So therefore the point is, no matter how much negative may come in terms of years, but instead of stop the negativity dead cold in there its track and find the solution to it. And number two, he says, and then the question is the mistake of the one who is doing the action, or the one who just sits in his home on the easy chair and does nothing? Yes. So say 5,000 people are to eat, but the people are, and there are people are eating they are cooking the food, but there will be some or the other will say these people are not managing the food items properly. They are cooking these things, they are adding too much chili, they are adding too much salt, they are adding too much oil in the food, etc., etc. Sure, the mistakes will come. 5,000 people are being fed, and so So should they all not gather together and do improve the whole problem collectively, or should they be finding more faults and negativity inside? Those people are volunteering, for heaven's sake. They are volunteering their effects. These interferers have got no other thing except to find errors and to grind more chili peppers and throw it on others. And but externally it says this will not look well in the eyes of others. Deepakbhai, it says he says Lord Rama went into on Vanvas or in the forest, and Bharat was minding the store home. But when he returned home after 14 years, it found that he had to tax. He had never taxed anybody, so the kingdom had gone to ruins, and so nobody was minding the store. In the same way, so there is the energies of Dada and Niruma that is holding this on, but it looks like I will have to pay more attention in administrative affairs. The main thing here, every Mahatma should focus on his own moksha only. This is the path of liberation, and it is tremendously a serious liability to see the fault of the other person, or to create an atmosphere where one keeps on seeing negativities in other people. And when you cannot have it your own way, there must be an underlying reason behind it. There is that you're not getting your you're not getting it that you're not getting so this is my now let me go one more step, that even while let me share one experience with you. Even amidst such turmoils and restlessness, amidst all these people, I am in total samadhi and the bliss of the self. But I will have to give some time for sure, because this is like the farm of the absent farmer. Everybody is throwing their kind of suspicions and accusations against each other in left and right and in all directions, and really undermining this entire beautiful structure of this city. And therefore I have asked from Dadashri, you have given me the energies and siddhis, but now I have asked for extra energies. I have done satsang for so many years, and look at the result, Dada. And therefore I'll have to kind of improve it, and it is my own fault. Maybe something seriously is wrong. Yes, I did give attention. I did used to give attention, but then the load came to so much to me that I had to divide it to the Aptaputras and the Aptaputris. Now, but I used to do that. But slowly I'll have to now give attention to the disgruntled Mahatmas and the people who are involved in this whole negativity that has kind of proliferated. It's like a mini fire that has almost happened here, but we have the ability to really, and we will get the people who have serious problems with it, and to listen to them and tackle their problems without any negativity and with a true understanding and love, because otherwise we want to remove these impediments on the path of liberation. We must recognize on whose back, even to see even 1/4. And he says which Mahatma will you see, whose Mahatmas will you see mistakes, whose mistakes of a Mahatma will you see, which Mahatma's mistake will you see? He is going to moksha in 2 to 3 lifetimes. How can you see his mistake just because he vomited? Can you see his mistakes? Yes. Just make him. This is the mistake of the Mahatma. So therefore, this is yes. The world is like this only. Do you want to become like the world? Do you beat up the person who is vomiting? No, you are supposed to gently stroke his upper back so he feels better from the vomitus and the vomitings and the nausea. So therefore, the most important principle is do not see negative in anyone. Do not enter into something that doesn't concern you, and be concerned with exactly where your intention is, and be the self and see the self and see everyone as flawless. I am not talking about only myself only here. Every day I am chiding Deepak. I am telling Deepak, well, Deepak, why did you behave in such a way? Why did you say this and this? Why did you enter into this kind of, see? And do not, if you say it with any kind of authority, then instead of that, why don't you ask for the energies from Dadashri? I will have to do this, would I not? Is it a question? Some Mahatma says, Deepakbhai, we are very sorry. Deepakbhai says, I have to ask for your forgiveness of all of you, that I have had to say that I cannot help you, that I cannot help people who are here to really attain whatever they want, not only in the really real world, but also have significant ease and comforts in the relative level also. I says, I have met each and everyone who has written a letter to me. But the reason I ask for you to write a letter is because I can spend some time and deliberating upon it. But it says, and then later on when I am ready to help you, I don't come to fill in your energies. I ask you to meet such and such an electrician to get the energies right, to get the power rolling again. In the days of Dadashri, there were only 5 people around Dadashri. And now there are so many that if I say come, then even this entire big hall will be totally blocked. So now I have to tell Ajit Bhai, Sirish Bhai's older sister, who is our unofficial Sanghpati, the head of the unofficial head of this organization, administrative head. Please, we may have to build a larger hall, but a good management team, a team that works in unison is very important. And if they can, then we may need some coordination committees. Now the whole thing is improve from where it has become spoiled, and do not sit there, get the solutions done, and do not see faults of anyone. Next question from somebody, next comment. You are the Gnani. You are saying so much, but I should understand this in one sentence. I should take it, but you just spoke so much, and you are the representative. You are the representatives of that amidst hundreds of thousands. You are only one Deepakbhai. And it is our responsibility, and it is indeed our responsibility to really understand it, to get it under control. So therefore, this is a senior Mahatma from Vadodara talking. We all we just want to touch your feet, that please continue your work of Gnanvani and the spiritual. This is very critical, because even 50 to 100 years from now, people will say that you guys at Simandar City, you screwed it up, man. What did you do? You blocked this whole beautiful science from coming out. So it is on behalf of we all request Deepak, we should give them assurance that we will let's not engage him in administrative matters, sir, and then let us tackle it. And unless it is a serious matter that we cannot can tackle, that is only. We have such a very beautiful team of Aptaputras and Aptakumars and boys and girls, and let us be subservient to them and let them handle it, and not take over the role of interfering in it and try to take on the driver's seat in some of these relative things. And as Mahatmas, are you with us or not? And because we are saying, we don't know how many people. And says, this is our sincere request, Deepakbhai. And Deepakbhai replies, for now, your intents are accepted. We will keep it in the computer, but in future, but right now. Yesterday I got a big letter, the Deepakbhai says. In that letter we are trying to solve for 3 nights. That person has his own problems, and these people they have come to a head where they are not seeing eye to eye at all, and he has valid problems too. His difficulties are very valid, says Deepak. But the letter came to me, did it not? And then if I ignore him, then will it not be heard? And he says, I have surrendered myself to you. I have come to Simandar City, having given up everything else in my original city. So he has nobody. So I have to take care of him. Do I not? So this is the way it is. Yes, there is a coordination committee in ATPL. There's the background of the whole thing is that new complexes, multiple residential high rises are already ready for to be assigned to people who have given their names and who have given their assurances and money, etc. And however, some people try to get in without the proper channels, and therefore, and Deepakbhai says there are some troublemakers for sure. Deepakbhai says I should not be saying it, but there are some people who are lighting the fire from within. Such arsonists are there, and therefore, and so so and so I have instructed them that because they have not made the payments, if they have come to darshan, just tell them go and do the darshan. So so they should know that it is coming to Deepakbhai, and therefore Deepakbhai knows that he is lighting the fire from underneath in places unknown and being deceitful. So when they come to Vidi, and so I know exactly what's going on. But up until now, I used to think that the Mahatma is in tremendous Gnan and awareness. However, then I'm surprised then I recognize that this is the unfolding karma of that Mahatma. But however, it has presented to us live in the relative, has it not, as an effect? And so, if I try to make them understand it this way, these boys who are helping in this way, and I'm holding the fort from their angle on one hand, and on the other hand I'm trying to work it out with these people who are seriously troublemakers, and also amongst them there are also others who are genuinely have a problem but are therefore kind of caught in the middle. And because some of these snakes are like the snakes with 7 tails, you cannot catch them anyway by catching one tail at all. So therefore, yes, these are all Mahatmas of Gnani Purush Dadashri, are they not? And without getting rid of their junk, how will they attain moksha? And therefore, yes, all kinds of faults will have to be rid of, will it not? And so subtle illusion, ego, greed, deception, pride, mischief of any kind, all of these things will have to go, will it not? And so, yes, I remember how this used to happen when Niruma was around, and at that time we used to get excellent solutions through the grace of Dadashri, because the ego has not is hungry life after life after life. The hungry ego is so hungry that it will not let the other person eat, nor will it really eat in peace. And so it will, when one does not get it according to his ways, one will really go into the deception mode and light fires here and there, and then create a lot of problems, and then create a big drama and create big shows where everybody comes and say, hey, what happened, hey, what happened, hey, what happened? And then they start seeing faults not only of Mahatmas, but they come to see faults of the Gnani himself. Yes, it happened with Dada and Hiraba too, because Mahatmas were misbehaving. And here, even Hiraba, when young ladies used to come to Dada and to do the Vidi, here the people started inciting and putting wrong words in the ears of Hiraba, the Dadashri's wives, that these young ladies are going to take away your husband. Watch it. And so Dada made a big scene, and this is in the textbooks also. Please read the Aptavani. So this is not the fault of anybody. Sometimes, and Dadashri really reacted very seriously at that time, and so Deepakbhai just went through such a reaction, I think, in front of all the Mahatmas, those who are live in front of them, and those who are listening to the satsang through different media sources. Yes, just because I am driving out the negativities in you, should I be harboring any negativity at all? I mean, he is our Gnani, he is showing us the exact light. Do you think he will have any kind of darkness at all? He says, have we not talked about butter? You see, if you take excellent butter will come out only from very sour buttermilk. If the buttermilk is just still not sour and it is still tastes like milk, then there will not be hardly any butter will come out, would it? So this is the way it is. One has to really, and the buttermilk has to be churned so much until the butter comes out. So a good thing will come out of this, says Deepakbhai. Next question from Ajit Jani. When to become free from the kashais, from these thought, speech, and actions, absolute humility is needed, is it not? Deepakbhai says, absolute humility, yes. Whenever there is lack of humility, this is whenever when you see faults of Mahatmas and what just happened, then it will break this to be called that you have done the right thing and to get the certificate that you have done the right thing is really breaking away the humility that needs to be expressed in front of the Gnani. And it will also not only take away the humility, but it will absolutely take away the pride takes away humility, and ego takes away absolute humility. This is a sutra, so it is very, and so it totally blocks these beautiful energies and arising from within. So do we have to do these mistakes? Deepakbhai says the biggest thing is to see the mistake. Alochana, to be able to see the mistake and to confess that is very critical. First, right now, you really need to understand the mistakes and the errors. If you can see the mistakes, then you can really tackle them. Do understand where the anger, deceit, and pride and subtle deception are being employed in a subtle manner, so that other people are being hurt, other people are being interfered with, other people's agenda is being interfered with. So therefore tackle it. Are you in this absolute humility of somebody else? Are you in humility with? Are you humble to somebody? So, but he says, because if you hurt somebody, then you recognize that the kasha is there within you. And it says these two things which is written in every book of Dadashri, that along with absolute humility and then number 2, I do not know anything, are these not the primary requisites for progressing on the world path? Deepakbhai says yes. Therefore we have set it. Therefore, depending on your abilities and your abilities to help, it will be taken in use for you. And if I am saying something in the entire Akram Vignan, we have given so much leniency in Akram Vignan. Do you think that is a result of it? Deepakbhai says clearly says no. If you want to follow any kind of law, then you will have to enter religion. If you want to go attain liberation, you will have to rise above any kind of discipline. You will have to rise above any discipline. Let the filled matter, let the junk just come out. Yes, it is very critical to show the Gnan to everybody. Yeah, we do not need to break the disciplines. We do not need to bring people into disciplines. We just need to give them the exact understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Once the understanding is given in the form of information, then he will come. Therefore, do we need to agree, Deepakbhai, that we have made serious errors? Deepakbhai, I have no weight because of you. I have the weight of my weakness, and you have to be done with your weakness. For me, this that has happened is exact and correct. Mahatmas should not have a guilt or walk around with a big weight that something terrible has happened. If my worldly interaction with you is such that it hurts you or hurts any Mahatma, then I need to correct my worldly interaction. You people, if you come to me, you must find samadhi and bliss. Jai Sachidanand. The next one. Bhavna Ben Parekh. Next question. Jayanti Patel. She is not. Is he here? Jayanti Bhai Patel, is he here? No, he is not here. Kastur from Mumbai. Is he here? These are residual questions not previously answered. There is a lot of illusion for food, clothes, and enjoyment of worldly pleasures. And when this is being enjoyed, the middleman takes pleasure in it. What should I do so that the middleman does not take pleasure in this? Deepakbhai says, start with the simple pleasure. Let's recognize that if the pleasure comes, then it is coming to the bow of Patrick, the middleman of the Patrick. The pleasure is not coming to you. Recognize the pleasure is coming to the non-self. Why are you becoming so restless, running after the pleasure? Why are you employing deception by deception to get more of the pleasure that is essentially unfolding as an effect, and you are complicating it by unnecessarily running after it? And so then show him periodically, Patrick, that tell me where the pleasure is. Tell me where the pleasure is. You see, supposing so just recognize where is the pleasure coming from. Is the pleasure coming from? Is this the money coming to you because of your merit karma of past life, or because of your ability in this life? These are all illusionary illusory attractions of wrong beliefs, and give them the correct understanding. Supposing we have said that somebody is an idiot, then we will have we will have an awareness that we will be obstructing our own intellect. But however, it is difficult to get this set within. Deepakbhai says, do the first step. Just recognize that before you are getting this pleasure, because when you deride somebody, when you say something negative about somebody, there is a very subtle pleasure of bestiality that we discussed yesterday, expressing through within. Are kashayas happening on the account of somebody else? And so just you should focus on the fault first. And when these anger, greed, deceit and pride leave, then we will take the food part. Let us now focus on the anger, greed, deceit and pride. She says she likes it. Let's just be in awareness that she likes the food part. Right now, just know that she likes the food part. Let us focus on the issues of the hurt that is caused by kashayas within the bhavo, within the ignorant one, and gradually then rise above it. And then we will come to recognize that yes, Patrick likes this pleasure, and then in attaining that pleasure, if he employs deceit, then clear that off. But right now, the question is, you are now talking about the awareness at 3 level. First level, are you hurting somebody else? Number 2, are you seeing faults of negativity of somebody else? Number 3, are you getting pleasure out of something? So now let's not attack the pleasure issues right now. Let's talk about, are you hurting someone? And number 2, are you having negativities? Are you giving food to negativities? And then do the bhavana that, dear Lord, Dada Bhagwan, grant me the infinite energies not to do these things. Grant me the energies never, do the 5th column of the 7th column of the food part. And you can do it, and then until the next food item comes, the food, until we don't eat in between dinner and supper. Don't eat unnecessarily. Next one. After taking Gnan, I had the intention of coming to Adalaj, but I did not agree because I heard that Niruma was very strict, therefore I did not agree. But then later on, when I saw on TV that Niruma has left now, and then I thought I will be able to go, and nobody will scold me, and so Deepakbhai is so mild, he will not get angry with him. Deepakbhai adds on, he doesn't know what the heck's going on, does he? No, madam, yes, you can do whatever you want to do, you can mess up as much as you want. Niruma is so smart that she has not gone away at all. She is picking each one and getting them out. And if you are messing up, you will be thrown out of Adalaj. Yes, but the ego will be trapped and the ego will suffer. Would you like it? Now, a lot has been said in this answer by Deepakbhai. Yes, I had negativities about Niruma. I had negative thoughts about Niruma. I am openly confessing to them. Please forgive me. Please. He says this is the intellect of the current time cycle. and it will sprout in odd and weird ways. And then you should tell Narmada from inside, hey lady Narmada, sister, why are you painting such negative things about a Gnani, about somebody who is here to liberate you? And whatever has happened is over. Now just convert it with your blessings and grace, Simandar city. I have been given now in phase 2, and I am very, very glad for this. And I want that all kinds of negativities and kashais and mistakes leave while I am here, and with the exception of pure liberation and moksha. Ultimately, I do not want anything else, and this is my purusharth, says the old lady. And now everything is done. Yes, Nirumai is gracing you and blessing you. She is there for you, and from here on, if you do anything negative, of course, then she will give you a little one. But otherwise, you're fine. I did the Samaik that you have given us, and I was able to see a lot of mistakes. Next question. And I was able to see the mistakes where there is unnecessary spending going on, and I want to do an open alochana, open confession in your live presence, please, because what was it? It was like this, Deepakbhai. 6 years ago, after my file 2 expired, my husband expired, and the widows get some kind of help from our community, and they told me that, sister, we will give you a machine we'll give you a machine which for dressmaking, whereby you will be able to make dresses and make a living. But at that time I did not tell them. Instead of telling them as it is, I did the deceit. And then I told them that even though I knew how to do dressmaking, I told them to stitch mixed clothes for me, and then I employed deceit and made them make these clothes and take money from them. And therefore I feel so deceitful and so grateful that the people who came to help me, I threw it back at them. But this keeps coming to me recurrently. Just for a little money, I did such terrible things. And these people had gathered together to help widows and handicapped people. and so now, but I had such negativity at that time, and I'm able to see so much regarding these matters of helping others, and I feel like you can a million lifetimes can go and you can never be in front of the Gnani, and I'm a useless person that I want to be free from this kind of nonsense. I want to be free from this error which keeps on bothering me, even though it happened very many years ago. What should I do? Or whose Pratikraman should I do? Should I do it? So he says, Deepakbhai says, whoever you remember, that wherever there was the misuse done, with the Dada Bhagwan is your live witness, yes, and remain as a self and make Harsha do the Pratikraman. Where the deceit that was employed, the lie that was told, the mistrust and the betrayal, etc. And then the ideas that you wanted to take advantage of this, all of those wrong intentions were that whatever had happened, and make whatever happened has happened on the basis of those mistakes, and therefore once you recognize those mistakes will not happen again. Because if you now slowly enter into dressmaking again through your own machine and take it up yourself, so that you can also help others who are less fortunate. But if you still need the money, then continue taking the money. But so therefore decide what you want to do. But it is not more. Deepakbhai, now you just said that Draupadi, the wife of the 5 Kandavas, she just uttered three words, the blind one of the blind for Duryodhan, the opponent, and he became so angry that he made such serious revenge that he drove the five decent Pandavas had to suffer such a lot. He says, Deepakbhai says, there's nothing new. What is okay? There's nothing new. This recording has been done, and then you see in the spring what has been recording from birth till death. The movie of yours has been made, and it is now just playing. So who will you blame? But instead of finding faults with anyone, I feel that because it happened with me, I feel that. But because I had to go through such suffering, because I had such negativity about these people who made me suffer. This is in her widowed state. Then I need the only way I can wipe off is through the intent. He says it is your mistake only. It is 100 your ego mistake only. And if you investigate, supposing you're hurting in your abdomen, in your tummy, who will you blame? If you fall sick, who will you blame? If your hair become white, who would you blame? This is your own karma that is unfolding in front of you. And so slowly brings such exact awareness and understanding of Gnan. And he's asking her to stop because she just tends to continue. Yes, he says, he says, looks to me, says that I am just constantly talking to you only, that I am expressing this to you. He says, keep on doing it, but keep somebody above you. That is very important. Next one. When there is a attacking nature, if I feel that by doing an attacking attack, what about that? He says, if you break the leg of the cat which is running after a rat, what have you done? You have saved the life of the rat, but who will feed the little ones of the cat? He says, when you had this such intense elevated awareness, then what kind of awareness did you employ that kept you on totally safe side? Oh, show me the master key of not being affected at all in life. It says that let the awareness arise and then we will show you, says Deepakbhai. He says that awareness. He says, then whenever a good task has been accomplished, never taste the sweet juice of doership and just give it all to Dada and say, Dadashri, it is your grace only, that it is because of your knowledge that all of this is unfolding. That I do not need to enter into the doership mode at all, or subsequently taste the sweet juice of doership. So therefore there will be no tasting of garvaras. The simple answer is remain separate from Nirali and then keep that awareness and then observe what is Nirali doing and what is happening within Nirali. If she is flying high, bring her down. If she is getting depressed, lift her up. And separation is indeed the awareness. Nothing else is the awareness. To remain the self is the awareness. And this has happened through the grace of the Gnani Purush. Therefore, preserve it and constantly converse with Nirali, with Nada, with Shava, with Emily, with Thea. And whenever it rises, converse inside with her and make sure that she doesn't fly off the handle and enter into masti, which is entertainment of the mind only and playing with the mind only. And slowly just bring her back towards the blissful state and bring her back to the original goal of liberation. And this nischay, this unflinching determination will keep you in the awareness. So the path is exactly internal and nothing external. And so, but if one enters into the external because one has a bad intention. He says Dada, read Dada. Dada said that the goal has been set. However, one is still gets tempted because he is tempted to take some bribes from the. He says whether it is 5-star food or whether it is 5-star gourmet food. I don't want anything except this beautiful bliss of the self. And you say, with the exception of the pure soul, I don't want anything out of this world. I don't want anything. Deepakbhai says, and then as soon as you see bhajiyas, fritters, or French fries, special spicy French fries, you just, I want it. No, eat, but make the eater eat. Why are you becoming the eater? If you, this is the only mistake. If you, if you take the pleasure of sexuality, then the weapons of awareness will be covered up completely. Therefore, if you take, it says, if you, because I wanted to do so much, because you just stop in this bliss. You see, if you just, because if you just sit in your bliss, then again you'll just sit there only. Therefore, you have to be very careful that there should always keep somebody above you who is constantly conversing with you and telling you. Therefore, if you are, if you're in the karmic path, they have such rules that they don't leave you alone only at all. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Purpose. Therefore, there is the pleasure also. So that's, then when we have the bliss happening, yes, even after, is, so even after this awareness of awakened awareness, if you taste the pleasure, then you should know how to have displeasure in pleasure. It says, Deepakbhai says, if I find something pleasant in worldly life, then I will just focus on that which is unpleasant. If there is pleasant food coming in, then I will just feed him something that is unpleasant, and so to balance it out. If I enjoy taking warm showers, I will take a cold shower. I will make him take a cold shower. So when that which is pleasant is shown the other unpleasant ones at the same time, then one will stop getting into the recurrent pleasure seeking mode. Because even though the awareness is clouded, because Deepakbhai says the awareness is clouded by one entering into recurrent pleasure seeking mode. So then do you think, and then one enters into, this is my territory. If somebody takes something that belongs to you, takes it away, and then, or somebody does something without asking you, do you get upset? And then your ego is so disturbed because somebody does. You need to catch it all at the root, and then say, tell Chaya. So then you get into, so don't you get that? That Deepakbhai is making her explain everything so beautifully to the other lady, and with me he is constantly in an attack mode. So Deepakbhai says the medicine is dependent upon the nature of the disease that exists within. He says, and Deepakbhai says, I'm doing Pratikraman for you because I was very strong with you yesterday. And said later, because I went after her case yesterday. Don't I have to do it? I did a lot of Pratikraman last night. But I have to lift you higher, and then at the same time I have to stroke, I have to beat you a little bit, just as you would beat off the dust of a coat by thrashing it a little bit, would you not? Yes. He says, but I didn't feel that you hurt me, Deepakbhai. He says, I know how much you got hurt. Don't enter into that sweetness. This is the lady that was taken to task yesterday by Deepakbhai. Okay, let's go on forward, says Deepakbhai. Let us not enter into the sweet taste of doership. It is because we begin enjoying the pleasure and the sweetness, we lose our awareness. I think we will have to take on the beating of the world for one life out of the countless lives that we have taken previously, and recognize that the one who sweet talks to you, one who gives compliments to you, are dangerous people, whereas represent danger, are not dangerous people but are represent danger, whereas those who harass you, those who give you hard times, they are beneficial to you. Therefore, but what we do is we do the opposite. We go after the ones who help us and hurt and are pleasant to us, and we really lash out and brandish the people who harass us. And so that is the old ways of the world, and the one on the path of liberation does the reverse. He becomes very, very alert and aware of the one who is giving him compliments and buttering him up and pumping his ego and pumping his pride, and talking sweetly, deceitfully. So Therefore, but otherwise it is extremely difficult to extricate yourself from this non-self complex called Prakriti, because by nature it is running after pleasure and running away from pain. And so, and the nature of the illusion is such that it constantly seeks that only and runs in that direction only. So when are we going to extricate ourselves from this? Deepak Bhai, therefore, I am able to see the deceit a little bit, or how should I tackle that deceit? Deepak Bhai says that remain ever alert and awake and then deal with it. Are you many? But you are not able to know that deceit is being employed 999 out of 1000 times. You are able to see it only 1 out of 1000 times. Deceit here means one becomes nada, one becomes shava, and therefore is simply not able to remain in the original seat and see it as it is, due to their ongoing additional association with minus along with the I-ness. He says, he says, and he says, you want to bypass these ladies, and says, and you just want to show your good sides only to me. They are the ones who can catch your mistakes, because they have. He says, why are you sending me there? But they are. That is the intellect that you need to catch. He says, you do not want to be subservient to these senior ladies who are already have progressed significantly on the path of overcoming deceit in a woman. And if you want to come straight to Deepakbhai, you are trying to bypass the instructions of the Gnani, and therefore, and you have to recognize and accept that this is being given to you because for your own benefit only and for no other reason. And so do not bypass the instructions of the Gnani. Everybody should say that. In fact, they should not say that Deepak Bhai is telling that other person. No, Deepak Bhai is actually telling me only, telling us only, telling nobody else. This entire science is for me only. It is not for anyone else. That should be how the internal awareness should be. Let us do a nice Samahik today. The Samahik is coming on at 2.5 hours past the satsang commencement. He is opening up the Pratikraman book to decide. Let us talk about those who are our well-wishers and those who are our ill-wishers. What page is it on? If somebody is doing good for you, somebody who is beneficial and somebody who is hurtful. Hitechu, somebody, let us understand what a hitechu, somebody who is beneficial to you, the one who is beneficial, supposing your daughter, says, if your daughter says something wrong, then you come to me and say, so what is the difference between the one who is a well-wisher versus the negative talker? So it says the benevolent one, the well-wisher will first try to come to the Gnani and find a solution and then act accordingly, whereas the opposite one will just spread the negative, say his daughter ran away, and then it will create a wedge between you and other people. The well-wisher will see it from both sides of the coin before taking the second step. The one who is here to settle an old revenge account, he will the one who has come here to settle an old account of revenge, he will only see the negative within you and focus on the negative, and then create a mountain out of it, and then really make a big scene out of it and really burn up the whole thing. It says it is exactly nothing but our expression of our own ego of the past life, and that ego is now really taking this revenge in this life. So in this world, nothing is happening except a bigger ego is eating up a smaller ego, and a smaller ego is being eaten up by the heavier ego, and that is the nature of this world. There is only two things happening in this world: somebody's ego is being fed, and somebody's ego is being abolished and fractured. So when this happens to you, then And if you are the culprit, then he says, then you need to become the benevolent one, the well-wisher, instead of the one who is the destroyer and the revenge taker. And the other she says on page 181, let me see where it is. It is ahead. They are taking this Samaik ahead. We have not read it again. And so we're talking about, we're just going to, in life, those who were beneficial to us, who really took, but in life here, were those who were beneficial to us, who were our well-wishers, we become attracted to them and we become attached to them. And those who have come to take revenge on us and on hurt on us due to our own past life accounts, we become detached from, so we become aversive towards them, and we start go into a repulsive and abhorrence mode towards them. And we need to see that these are all the expressions of the ego, the self-ego, the ongoing serious conflicts between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, the ongoing serious conflicts between those who and this, the beginning of this begins with the bestial pleasure seeker, this pleasure seeker of the bestial ego, the one who really takes glee and joy when to see his other person suffer. And and uh, and so therefore, you should need to see both as it is. You should not have any dvesh, any negativities about the one who is doing something wrong, and not get too attracted, not get attracted by the one who is helping you. See it all as it is. Be free from the rag dvesh, be free from the attachment and the aversion, and do not enter into the positive side. Do not take sides of the positive, nor do you move away from the one who is negative. See them both as they are and be free. And this happens on a one-to-one, so that on the basis of one-to-one interaction, because so on the one-to-one, those the beneficial ones, they, because we are because we are on the positive sides only, so then we gather into a team of positives, and therefore we just kind of then really go angry and opposite against those who are negative. So we polarize against each other, and this is how we form triangles, and these are eternal triangles. And he says, and if you really look at the history of this world, then you said between two people who are in conflict or in any kind of interaction, there is a third one who is called always there to make a triangle and drive a wedge between the two. And so this is the biggest danger in here, is that but that do not have a single negative. If there is a slightest negativity expressed subtly even, is equivalent to throwing a pickaxe, a huge wound on the self of within that person, on the pure soul within that person, is to wound that person seriously. And so a slightest negative opinion expressed is a very dangerous thing, and so the person gets wounded because it reaches the pure soul within him. And so whenever there is a rag or dvesh, attraction or aversion, you just do the purusharth. So wherever you get hurt, wherever the ego of Patrick gets hurt, recognize that the reaction is in the ego only, and so move away from it, but without blaming the other person even to the slightest. And so there are two components to it. This rag for the beneficial one, and dvesh towards the one who is hurting you. And so these are two sides of the same coin, and you need to move away from it all and not get into the spending of the coin and using of the coin, and get into it. And therefore, so why even enter it? Because then the positivity, you will read more positivity. However, you make sure that you do not enter into a triangle phase here, and that you need to remain impartial in both of these things. And this is just an unfolding worldly interaction between those two people, and you do not want to be the nimit of driving a wedge between the two, and creating further complications. Do not see the negative. If you cannot see the negative, if you cannot see anything, and then remain silent and try to seek out something positive in it and focus on the positive. However, here now in the Samaik, we are going to say, in our life, wherever we found somebody beneficial to us and helpful to us versus somebody who was hurtful to us, let us seek them all out and to to do the Samahik Pratikraman in it, and make the firm decision that you do not want to move away from the S capital self you are, and that you want to remain on the path of liberation and attain your final liberation, the moksha. So let us do it very minutely, this Samahik of negativities and of scorn against people. So if you are negative about one group, then you will obviously in positive for one group, and against both of these, in front of both of them, you need to become vitarag, neither moving this way or nor moving away from that. Sometimes so if you even listen about something negative, just today if you have heard something negative about some people here, you should not be upset about that. You should just take it as it unfolds and remain the blissful equanimous one. Let us do the Vidi. O Dada Bhagwan, O Lord Sri Simandar Swami, with the exact pure applied awareness of the self, in my worldly interactions, on the basis of work interactions, whenever there was any kind of because I considered them beneficial, wherever there was rag and attachment, and where I considered them harmful, there was aversion, and when I entered into their talks, and wherever there was any kind of rag or dvesh towards any particular individual, let me see all such mistakes in Samahik. Let me know them and recognize them, and to do the exact pratikraman, hearty pratikramans for each one of these individuals, and then do the pratikraman and thereby become vitarag, and in connection with this, and therefore be free from them and attain one more life where I will attain final liberation, and to be free from any illusions and attractions towards anybody, and in such against such people, against such issues, let me remain separate. I surrender mind, speech and body, all illusions related to this name of mine, bhav karma, charge karma, discharge karma, subtle discharge karma, no karma, gross discharge karma. O Dada Bhagwan, I surrender them all unto your divine lotus feet. I am surrendering them all. Shuddhatma chu, 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 Shuddhatma chu. Jai Satchidanand, Jai Satchidanand, Jai Satchidanand. Yes, do go deep. Even if you hear something negative, do a lot of remorse, and do not leave this Samahik. This is a great event, and so this is the chance to be done with these errors that have never been cleared up in the previous life. Okay, let us all do the Samahik. Jai Satchidanand, Jai Satchidanand. Even Deepakbhai is going to be there in front of us and join in this. Okay, now he is taking leave.